Welcome to Unfiltered Summit Sisters. I'm Gina.
And I'm Julia.
We are two ride-or-die best friends who are paving the path for what true, authentic relationships look like.
We're facing hardships head-on, having real, uncensored conversations, supporting each other's growth, and shining a light on true, raw healing.
We are navigating the world the best we know how.
Having a hell of a time doing it.
Laughing every step of the way.
Through the rain
and sunshine.
This is Canyon Culture. Welcome back to Unfiltered Summit Sisters podcast. We found this new trail today, and if you are not watching on YouTube, you have to go look because this is incredible.
I wish, it's so good. It's a view we see often when we're driving up this, but we don't, it's a road, so we often have to stop in the middle of the road to look at it.
Right.
So to find this spot where you can, sit and stare at it.
Yes, and there's a little trail that goes that way, and so we really want to hike and see what more is that way.
Yeah.
So cool.
So pretty, but we've limited time.
We do have limited time.
Very limited time. We're almost done with this road being open.
I know. They close it during winter because it's not maintained and it's not safe and yada,
blah,
yada, yada.
Blah, 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 because people are stupid.
Yeah. Anyway, today is I don't want to say important day. That's definitely not the right terminology. Today is a day of remembrance for me.
Okay.
And I did not talk to you about this before we started recording.
I'm nervous and
and it's the first
it's
the first year that I remembered and thought about it at all.
Okay.
Today would be my 16-year wedding anniversary.
Oh.
Yeah. First of all, I don't feel old enough to say that.
Yep.
Because I'm pretty sure I was 16 12 years ago.
Wait, real quick, I had a friend send me a meme, and it was just if I were to get pregnant right now, I could totally be on teenage and pregnant. I'm in my late 30s. I was like, I feel that. If I were to be pregnant,
yeah.
How are we old enough for any of this?
Right.
You have a 16-year-old.
I have a 16-year-old.
So today
Today would be my 16-year wedding anniversary.
That's
and
insane.
I guess technically in a way it is. 16 years ago today, I got married. Holy crap.
Yeah.
And I have not, this is the first year that I have remembered or thought about it.
Since the divorce?
Yeah. Other years coming, I've been oh yeah, that's coming up, or oh yeah, that was last week. But I've never remembered it.
On the day?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. And yesterday I was I don't know why it came to my brain. I was
wow.
Tomorrow's the day.
16 years. That's so many years.
Yeah. It is so many years. And we haven't talked about this, right?
Mm.
And so there's a lot of raw feelings and emotions about it.
Let's hear them.
For sure. Do you want a tissue now, or should we wait till you start crying?
I have some already in my pocket.
Okay, perfect.
I came prepared.
I have a whole box.
Perfect. When you got in the car with that, I was like, crap. I knew. I was like, she's got a plan. She has plans. And they could go good or bad. I don't know which way.
I think it's so interesting. So what I want to talk about today specifically is kind of the process of grieving our marriages, which is not something that I expected at first, because we lived such dark, abusive marriages. There has been so much joy in leaving and finding freedom. So I did not expect a lot of the grieving that also comes with that.
I agree with that.
And I think that, and I certainly did not expect it when I was walking through divorce and everything, right?
My guess is that, and speaking for myself, it's not the marriage that I'm grieving. It's the idea of what I wanted in a marriage that is grieving.
It's so weird. The brain is so weird because just waking up this morning, there's so many mixed emotions. I feel, I don't know what the word, I feel kind of off balance, off center. Pulled in a whole lot of different directions, emotional wise.
Okay.
So there is so much joy and freedom in leaving my abuser,
Yeah.
and where I am now, right? And that's ultimately what I want to end this episode with. But I want to start with just the grieving and what that looks like. And for me, it goes along with a little bit of what you said. I am not grieving the marriage that I actually had.
Mm-hmm.
I'm grieving the marriage that I always wanted.
Well, I think when we were in that marriage, we were holding on to a marriage that we wanted, not the marriage we currently had. We even then we wanted a different marriage,
Yeah.
and we were holding on, hoping that they would change, hoping that they would see the light, hoping that they would come and be good men.
Right.
So we are constantly in that space of just this idea of what marriage should be, could be, and we're just in that hopeful space. So it makes sense that we would mourn that.
Yeah. And I think for me, and I'm going to start crying already. For me, I think all the way down, when you get underneath all of the feelings and emotions and everything, it is the little Julia that always dreamed that she would grow up and get married and have a family. And that did not include abuse or divorce.
Yeah.
And so it's going and meeting my inner child and telling her that it's okay.
Yeah.
But also her dreams were crushed. And that still hurts. And that's part of it.
Yeah.
Right? No little girl dreams that she's going to grow up and get married and have a family and get divorced.
I mean, no adult does that either.
Right? It's not even a thought.
Yeah.
And so there's part of me me needing to go back and talk to her and comfort her and tell her it's okay. It's okay that things went this way and turned out this way. There is grieving in the parts of me while I was in the marriage that for pure survival reasons chose only to see certain things. Chose to close my eyes to a lot of the darkness and the abuse, and chose to try to speak into existence things that didn't actually exist.
Yeah.
Right? I have a good husband. I have a good marriage. I'm faithful. He is faithful. Things that were not true. But I was trying to do that whole
Fake it
manifesting.
till you make it. Oh,
well,
manifesting. Got it.
That too. That too, for sure. But, if I just worked hard enough and I prayed hard enough and I spoke it into existence hard enough, it was going to happen for me. I knew it. I believed it with I'm pretty sure you and I talked about this together while we were still married. And we encouraged one another to be good wives and to fight for our marriages and our husbands and to speak life into them. And
look for the good. And
I don't regret any of that.
yeah.
I think that I did the absolute best I could in those circumstances. But it's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Because none of that came true. None of that happened. No matter how hard I held on to it, I fought for it. It didn't come into existence. And I think that's part of living in this broken world.
Well, I don't think that as much as I'm proud of us for working hard with that and giving it our all, I wish that, because I don't want to live in regret, so I don't want to say I wish that, but I want to teach my kids and teach other people that abuse is abuse is
Yes.
abuse. And there's no amount of you being a better wife, you cooking more, and you being a better mom that is going to warrant that behavior.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to stick around. You should not stick around for that. And there's no reason for anyone to treat you that way.
Yeah.
And so as much as I can look back and be proud that I am a committed woman. I can see I put in the effort that when I make a decision, I follow through and that I will give it my all before I call it quits.
Yes.
I wish I had the peace to call it quits way before so I didn't have to be abused. Well, that I didn't choose to stay in a relationship that was abusive for so long. But that's not the reality, and that's okay. And we're moving on, but that's teaching me now just we all not deserve. Abuse is abuse is abuse. And it doesn't matter how hard you work, you don't deserve to be treated that way.
It reminds me of a quote that I've seen, and I don't remember where it came from, but it said, when people show you their true colors the first time,
Mm-hmm.
believe them.
Yep. Yeah.
Believe them.
It's a hard lesson to learn. It's not easy to sit there because the same thing. Like, we both grew up wanting to be moms and wives.
That was my dream, right?
Yeah.
And that was, and yeah, I could do a whole different episode on why so many people told me that wasn't enough, and right.
So
But
dumb.
that was my dream. That's all I've ever wanted to be, is
Yeah.
to be a mom and be a wife and be stay at home and take care. I do. I love nurturing. I
Yep.
love doing all of the mom things, the stay at home mom, the stay at home wife, taking care of all of those things and creating this like beautiful, peaceful, joyful environment. That is all I ever wanted to do.
Nobody was surprised when I got married at 19.
Mm-hmm.
None of my friends were like, yeah, we knew you were going to get married early.
Mm-hmm.
Because that was also my dream. That's what I wanted.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, the morning that I was surprised about as well with my divorce and through my divorce was like, my family is falling apart. Not that it was together before, but that's what it felt like.
Right.
It felt like I just felt, it was like everything I've ever known,
Mm-hmm.
I'm giving up on. And the unknown is scary. But just, yeah, mourning that this potential that I thought we all had, the potential I thought he had, I'm not giving it. There's no space for it anymore. I had
Right.
to mourn this idea of a family I one day could have with this man.
Right.
And that's hard. And so even though like now I still have a hard time, I think about, if I were to get remarried again, like I'm not going to have a lot of the same firsts with him.
Right.
And that, I hate that. And I'm not going to hearing certain people talk about like the number of anniversaries they'll have, I'm like, I won't get that number
Ever.
ever. I'm never going to get to that number.
Mm-hmm.
And at my age, if I don't have more kids, I'm never going to get to experience the beauty of this idea that I had raising my kids with somebody who participated
Mm-hmm.
and who loved and cared for me as a pregnant woman, as a mom,
Mm-hmm.
instead of taking credit. Like, there's just so many things
Right.
that I'm mourning, and it's definitely not the man.
Yeah. And I think that's what's so tricky and weird. And unless you've walked it, you don't really truly know.
Mm-hmm.
Because for me, like, I'm grieving a marriage I never had.
Right, exactly.
Right?
It's this idea.
I'm going, what are you doing, brain? Like, but that's
You're
how it works, though.
You're make believe, but we had to do that for survival, right? That's what I'm assuming,
Right.
is that we had to pretend like our life, because for me there was so many times where I'm like, well, it's better than it was.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And it was our abuse was cyclical. So we would
Right.
have moments where it was really bad and dark, and then it would get better, and there was so much like, well, we're getting better.
Right.
We're on the way up. And then it'd still come back around.
Mm-hmm.
And so that on the way up felt so much hope. There was so much what I thought was light then.
Right.
It's not. But the light, anyway.
It's just smog.
Smog. Not even fog. Smog. Toxic pollution.
I feel like it's better than the smoke. Right? Like,
but I think that having this conversation and being really clear about it and understanding what it is we're mourning and giving the space to mourn something, because I
Yes.
think at the beginning I felt broken mourning a marriage that was awful.
yes.
And that made me feel broken. That made me feel like I wanted to be abused. Like, I asked for this. Right?
Yeah.
And so if I mourned that, it was me going, well, I want that. And I love that you just pinpointed that idea of, no, I mourned the marriage I wanted, not one I actually had.
Mm-hmm.
This one that I imagined I could have at some point. And it's a dark thing to process through.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard, and I don't appreciate this topic. But I do at the same time, because it is healing, because a lot of it is same.
Mm-hmm. I do. And I want other women out there who have left abusive relationships, marriages, whatever, who are mourning, to know that it's a normal part of the process.
Yeah.
It does not in any way mean that you wanted that abuse or you deserved to be abused. None of that is true. Don't listen to that for a second.
Mm-hmm.
It's a normal part of the process.
It's a hard one, though.
It is.
It's a hard one to grasp. Because even now, because you and I have had a rough couple weeks.
I feel like we keep saying that.
Well, and I feel like the thing is like the rough couple weeks, sometimes rough, like there's just not enough word. My vocabulary is so limited. I need a better vocabulary, because I was describing to you the other day, I was like, life is hard and heavy, but it's different hard and heavy than it was last week or when like
Right.
shit's hitting the fan. This is just like healing hard and heavy.
Yep.
And I don't know where I was going with any of that, but
It's part of processing. And so today, waking up and realizing that today would be 16 years, there is a lot of that. A lot of the processing, a lot of mixed emotions of grief from a marriage I never actually had.
yeah.
A lot of thoughts of, I will never be able to say that, I was married to someone for 60 years. That'll never be my reality. But there's also parts of like so much light and joy of like, look where I am now.
Yeah.
Like, look what God has brought me to now. And I think that there are also so many future blessings, because I know that He has a partner for me. I know that I'll get married again. And I know that I'm going to have other blessings, different blessings that maybe people who were married 65 years won't get to experience, but I will. So it's a lot of mixed emotions all at the same time, and it's overwhelming.
It is. I had during my hard week this week, and I was talking to Grandpa, who just got married to his third wife because his sweet first two wives have passed on.
I love him so much. He's such an incredible man.
He is so awesome.
And I think he's so big. How tall is he?
6'3"?
I don't. He's so tall and big, but he is the most gentle man you will ever meet. At the same time, the way that he stands in his masculine energy just makes you feel so safe and loved and protected.
Why are we
all
not
at the same
spending
time?
more time with Grandpa?
Come be on our podcast, Grandpa.
We should go. We'll go to his
We
house and be
should.
like,
That man has got a lot of wisdom.
He has so much wisdom. And talking to, I don't, just some of the hardship is dealing with a lot of the things that I have to deal with on my own. Is really, it's hard. Some days are just darker than others, having to do it by myself. But then talking to him, I don't know, just talking to a bunch of people, not a bunch of people. My words aren't functioning well. Something new for me. But I at some point during this week, I did feel this excitement that I get a second chance at love. I get to have a second chance to go into a relationship already knowing who I am.
Yes.
At 19, I didn't.
Right? No 19-year-old should be allowed to get married. That is freaking ridiculous. Anyway, keep going. Sorry.
No, it's true. I didn't know who I was. And so now I'm clear with who I am. And I'm like excited because I feel like the love is, and that relationship is going to be a little bit more pure. There's not going to be as many growing pains. There's going to just be more joy because we're going to be adults.
And that's what Grandpa has shared with both of us.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. Because his first wife, they had 10 kids. They had all kinds of illnesses and hard things that they had to go through. And he loves that. But his marriage to his second wife, he even said it the other night. He was just like, it was just pure bliss because they were both adults. They were old enough where my grandma, all 4 of her kids were adults and out of the house when they got married. And
so what I'm hearing is we just need to get rid of the kids.
you're just gonna get rid of the kids.
Okay.
Well, I mean, he still had 6 at home. Out of his 10.
But I love that he shared that they, with his second marriage, they did not go through all just the growing pains and the immature shit. He didn't say that, but I did.
He really didn't.
He wouldn't say that.
No.
Because he
calls it growing pains.
Yeah. They were older and more mature, and they had already gone through that.
And for me and you and how much we work on ourselves and being self-aware and healing every chance we can and understanding that we're flawed and willing to work and hear from others, hey, this isn't, taking that constructive criticism and working on it. It makes me like, I want to be realistic, but at the same time, I want to be like, I am excited for this fantasy relationship that's coming my way, and it can happen. It doesn't mean it's not going to be hard work.
Right.
But it doesn't mean it has to be so hard, because in my head, when I envision hard, I envision my marriage hard. Because that was hard. Disassociating is really hard.
Right.
Survival mode is so hard.
Absolutely.
Living on high doses of cortisol all the time is hard. Being in fear all the time, trying to read a room, all the different things
Right.
we had to do on a daily basis just to survive. That was hard. I have a feeling that when we have our marriages, we're going to be like, yeah, this is easy.
Right.
Our
Compared to
lives
what
are
we've
still going to
walked
be
through.
hard, right? Like, you and me are good. It's everybody else that's hard. And so we'll tackle this together. And that's the part that I'm frustrated with not having my partner right now, is I am not anticipating he's going to come fix everything.
Right.
But I would love to go battle the world that is beating me down right now with somebody by my side.
Right. Together, holding hands.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But I do appreciate this topic because it is one, because we both got married in 2006, right?
I got married in 2007.
So this year would have been my 17th. That's a big number. Why does 17 feel bigger than 16?
Because you're older than me. Which, to clarify, she's a year older than me. But I pretend and act like it's 10.
Significantly more. Your boyfriend is also younger than me, and so there's this, like, every time we get
Gina
together.
is our elder.
I should be served more. That's all I'm trying to say. As your elder. But I do appreciate, because that is something I haven't addressed lately. But I do think that is something that has been heavy for me, just in general. Just this idea of not having a partner and having to do so much alone. And I feel like every day that I don't have my partner, I'm missing out. And so I do mourn this idea of getting to have that marriage that I always wanted as a little girl. And this life, and this is the part that gets me crying, is just this life that I had envisioned for myself. Because I have to almost remind myself that my life is beautiful, because it's so hard to feel it. Because in my head, I wanted something completely different than I have.
Yeah.
That I've ever had. And it's hard. It's hard to sit here and look at the life I have now and recognize that it is beautiful, because it's nothing like what I imagined my life would be.
Yeah. And I think that we have to take that time to go back to little Gina and little Julia and comfort them.
We should have a play date.
Can we bring snacks?
And face masks.
Perfect. Perfect.
But I appreciate you sharing that.
Yeah.
And I appreciate you taking that time to learn and heal and share with me so that I can learn and heal too. Makes me
So
feel
it
less
does look
lonely.
like, for me, really, like, tangibly, it looks like grieving,
Yeah.
right? Grieving whatever it is, all of things we talked about already, right? Grieving into being really thankful that I have been brought out of all of that.
Yeah.
That God and I partnered, that I worked really hard, that we are not there anymore, into excitement for what is to come.
Like, in real excitement, not pretend excitement. Like,
Yes.
like if you didn't get divorced, you could be waking up with a pretend excitement of your
Right.
anniversary with some lame ass celebration
Right.
that he may or may not attend.
Well,
Right? Like,
I was going to say something really inappropriate. I'm going to hold off on that, though.
okay, good. But I'm just saying, like, that's the thing, is we convinced ourselves that we were happy. We convinced ourselves that there was joy. And so, like, standing in that space of, I get to feel that.
Right.
And for real life this time.
But I did have a dream this week.
Is it
Well,
the
I've had lots of dreams this week.
Your dreams?
I started supplementing magnesium at bedtime, and I think it's giving me crazy dreams
I
because I
kinda
had
wanna-
more last night.
I kind of want to take magnesium just to see.
But I'll just share one of them that kind of applies to this episode with excitement of the future. I had a dream that I was being proposed to by my boyfriend. And we are sitting in this beautiful park looking at the mountains, watching this gorgeous sunset. And you, all of the kids, all 11 of them, because Charlie's there too, are behind us. And I have no idea that y'all are there. I don't know how you kept the kids so quiet, but great job.
We've been practicing.
Y'all are all behind us. Greg, did I say Greg and Shirley? They're there too.
Yes.
And, you know, he's about to pop the question, and I fell asleep on him.
Okay, but for me, that makes me so happy because because we're in this like having a hard week, like healing space. The fact that you felt safe and comfortable enough to fall asleep, I'm like, oh yay! Like, I was so excited when you told me that dream. I was like, she slept.
Right? And at the same time, I'm going, that could actually happen.
No, absolutely. I was like, is this a dream or did it really happen?
Right.
Was I asleep? But I could see
Only in the dreams.
I could see me go, she's asleep. We'll do it another time.
Right.
Don't wake her up.
Right.
Other people are like, wake her up. We got to propose. I'm like,
Not the right
no,
time.
she's
Let her
sleeping.
sleep. That's
Get out of here.
how you know you're a true one.
Well, I am grateful that you shared this. I'm grateful that you brought this up. I'm grateful that you shared it. And I'm grateful that there's light within this, that there can be light in the dark at the same time. Mm-hmm. That we can mourn and we can celebrate and rejoice about the same thing.
Yes.
So I am grateful for you and your sensitivity to all the things.
I am really grateful that this does not feel overwhelming today.
Good.
That there are heavy emotions and a lot of them and a lot of conflicting ones, but it does not feel overwhelming. I can do this. I can work through this. I can heal this. I can come out the other side of this.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
You already have.
Watch me.
Watch me. Watch me.
Watch me. Okay.
Okay.
Until next time.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Unfiltered Summit Sisters.
Come join us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok to get a sneak peek into our lives.
It's beautiful, chaotic, crazy, and fun.
What else would you expect raising 10 kids?
All the links you need are in the show notes.
See you next week.